welcome back to another video. I'm really excited for today's video because I think this video is really going to clear up a lot of questions that I get, and I think it'll be a good place to direct people who are looking into possibly buying a junk journal, a Smashbook, etc. So today I am going to be talking about all the different types of journals that are out there. Obviously not all, but the ones that I use and the ones that I make and sell, and I really hope that this clears things up for you guys. So I do want to do a little disclaimer that these descriptions that I'm going to give you are just the way that I perceive these journals. I feel like a lot of these terms and titles are very interchangeable. They are going to vary on the person that is making them. They are going to vary on the way that someone is personally using them. And this is just my take on all of the different journals. I'm going to be starting with junk journal because that is one of the most popular types of journals that is going around these days. So I have a couple that I'm going to show you. I'm going to show you a blank junk journal, and I'm going to show you one that I personally use. So a junk journal is a journal that is typically compiled with different types of papers, envelopes, bags. I think that when junk journals first started, they were made up of actual junk. So the actual pages were made from mail, from, you know, different things that they were saving as memorabilia. However, I feel like it has slowly evolved, and now a lot of people make junk journals with brand new papers because they are making these junk journals to give to someone to place their junk into, if that makes sense. So I do feel like that's something that kind of confuses people, because a lot of people are like, I thought that junk journals were supposed to be full of junk, but I see a lot of people making really pretty junk journals now. I honestly just think that they've evolved because people make them now for gifts rather than making them personal. I hope that helps a little bit, but this is one that my friend Lindsay had gifted me, so just an idea of what it looks like blank. So you can see there are different papers and the pages are decorated. Junk journals can be made out of a soft cover or a hard cover. But one thing that junk journals always have is that they are made up of signatures. So if you can see, there are 3 sections in this book, 1, 2, 3, and each one of those is a signature. And if you're not familiar, a signature is simply papers that are folded in half. And that's something that's very unique to junk journals, and I think that's obviously a main indicator that it's a junk journal because you have signatures in it. Now, the signatures can either be sewn in, like this one, or they can be held in with twine or some type of string. That can be totally, you know, dependent on who's making it. So, and yeah, and pages can be decorated or they can be blank. Yeah, so I will show you my personal junk journal here. Again, this one has a hardcover. These signatures are sewn in. You can see the signatures up here, and I use this for memory keeping. So I place my junk in here. I have pictures and mail and all kinds of different things that I just kind of put in here for memory keeping. Junk journals can be used as a journaling or a diary type journal as well. Okay, the next one that I'm going to talk about is a type of junk journal, and that is a traveler's notebook junk journal insert. So before we get into that, I kind of need to go into traveler's notebooks generally, because I see a lot of people making what they call a traveler's notebook junk journal, but when I hear what size it is, I'm thinking, I don't really know if you can consider that a traveler's notebook junk journal insert if it's not one of these sizes that are available in the traveler's notebook. So traveler's notebooks, I believe they originally kind of came from Midori's, which are a very specific size. This is a traveler's notebook, and this is a regular size. As far as I know, there's 2 sizes. There's the regular. This is 4 1/4 by 8 1/4. And then there is a passport size. I believe that's 3 1/4 by 5 1/4. So a traveler's notebook junk journal insert is simply a smaller version of the junk journals that is a insert that can fit inside your traveler's notebook. So that's why it's important that if you are into making the traveler's notebook junk journal inserts, it's important that you mention if it's a regular or a passport size, because someone is most likely buying that to put inside their traveler's notebook. And again, I'm pretty sure there's only 2 sizes for traveler's notebooks. So yeah, so you can see that I have different inserts in here that are for different things. And a junk journal insert is simply an insert that is just a mini junk journal that you can put into your traveler's notebook. I don't have one in here right now, but I have used them before, and I can show you a completed one. So you can see that this is in a hardcover. That's because when I am done with my traveler's notebook junk journals inserts, I actually sew them into a hardcover. So you can see it's the size, it's 4 1/4 by 8 1/2. And I have 2 inserts in this one. And again, these are completed. They have all of my memories and photos in there. Okay, so I hope that one especially cleared some things up, just because sure, you can call it a traveler's notebook if you want, but if you're actually marketing that as a traveler's notebook junk journal insert, I do think it's important to make sure that you have the correct size. But with all of the other journals, they can be made any size that you want. Okay, let's talk about Smashbooks. Smashbooks are something that I made for a while now, and I used them. I used store-bought Smashbooks even before I made them. And let me grab mine. Again, I only have a completed one, but I'll go ahead and insert some photos so you can see what they look like not used. And a Smashbook is essentially a coil bound, which mine's so chunky that you can't even see there's a coil. It's a coil bound type of scrapbook or journal that's compiled again of different papers, sometimes envelopes or pockets. And again, it can be used for memory keeping, journaling, whatever you want. What else? Again, there are typically on a Smashbook, decorated pages. Now it's going to be a little hard to show you just because this one's complete. So you can see this is the completed version, and I have a lot of photos in here. But on a blank Smashbook, there would be decorated pages, maybe blank pages, just a variety of pages. And I mean, you could see it as very similar to a junk journal, but one of the differences that it's coil bound and that it has single pages in here. So these pages are not folded in half into signatures. These are all single pages. So again, they can come in different sizes and colors and shapes and all of that. Talk about one that I don't have an example for because I recently heard about it, but I'm sure they've been around for a while, which is a flow or a flowish journal. I've even heard flowish junk journal. And I guess what that is that a flow journal is usually compiled of pages from a magazine that's called a flow magazine. And these magazines come with different papers and little goodies inside them. And so people take those and they make a journal out of it. However, recently, or maybe not recently, but however, people realized that they want to hoard those magazines and not use them. So they started making something called a flow journal that is essentially like a junk journal that's filled up with tons of goodies for the recipient to use in their handmade journals. So it might be filled with glassine bags, envelopes, different papers, different mixed media type journaling cards or tags, whatever. And so it's basically a journal filled with things for the recipient to take out and use in their handmade projects or journals. Okay, let's see, I think we have a couple more. These are kind of general journals, but I wanted to go over them. An art journal. An art journal is essentially a blank journal filled with either watercolor or mixed media paper. It can come in different sizes and colors. This is going to be an example of an art journal that has been used because I have used it on different art journaling pages that I've done. And you can do a variety of art mediums in here and mixed media type things. So that's an art journal. Okay, what else? A bullet journal. So a bullet journal, you can get them store-bought or handmade. This is a store-bought, and a bullet journal is essentially a blank journal. Of course, mine's filled out. A blank journal that you turn into your own planner. A lot of times they have graph paper inside. Sometimes they have a dotted grid. That's all a bullet journal is. I've made handmade bullet journals, and so it's, again, essentially a blank journal, and you call it a bullet journal because the intentions are that the recipient uses it as a planner. So blank journal, and I call it a bullet journal. And these pages are actually sewn into a text block that is then glued into the hardcover. So nothing's sewn into the hardcover. The pages are sewn together using a kettle stitch binding, sometimes a Coptic bind, and glued into the hardcover. So that's one difference. I've heard people saying, okay, well then no, I think that's a writing journal. Honestly, I feel like any of these could be used as a writing journal. Yeah, like I mentioned, a lot of these terms and titles are so interchangeable, and they can vary so much by what the person is using it for. I wanted to briefly mention mini albums. A mini album is also used for memory keeping, so I wanted to point out that a mini album is typically made up using a hinge binding system. However, you can make mini albums lots of other ways, but they usually have single pages, again, compared to a junk journal that has signatures, you know, the folded papers. Many albums are made up of single pages, but there is a huge variety of ways that you can make and use mini albums as well. And so I have a few photos here, as you can see, of some mini albums that I have made. Typically, I think that mini albums are usually a lot cleaner cut. A lot of the pages and pockets are usually matted, and they just look really super nice and organized, I guess. And so I just wanted to mention that as we talk about different journals. The only other thing that I really have is to just to show you a scrapbook, just so if you are brand new to this, you can kind of compare and see what the differences are. This is a scrapbook, and it consists of clear pockets that you can put your scrapbook layouts into. So mine's used because I have scrapbook layouts in here, and you can see there like this clear pocket that's usually used in like a typical album. So there we go, guys. I feel like that's probably a lot of information, but I do hope it clears things up. And again, I feel like the biggest thing I wanted to go over is that a junk journal consists of signatures. They can be sewn in or tied in. A Smashbook is coil bound. Traveler's notebook insert is basically a smaller version of a junk journal that is either a regular or a passport size. So there, I think those are kind of the main points that I wanted to go over. And if you have anything to add to this, if I said something that you don't agree with or that you see different, feel free to leave it below. This video is truly to help us all learn a little bit more and understand all the terms. And I am not, you know, a pro at any of these. So I've been using all of these types of journals for years and years and years and years. So this is just what I have come up with because of my own experience. So thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you later. Bye.